y'all, it's Kim. So this is the Senate torture report. I have to always look up the name of it. This is video 23. Since this was a 712 pages, I'm having to do like 10 at a time, but we're almost to 200. Yay. Hold on, let me look at the name. Okay, it is the report of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence Committee study of the Central Intelligence Agency's detention and interrogation program. And remember, after 9/11, many suspected terrorists were detained for extended periods and tortured, according to this report. So, anyway, let's get into this. All right, the CIA's contract with Company Y was terminated in mid 2009. From the time of the company's creation in 2005 through the closeout of its contract in 2010, the CIA paid Company Y more than $75 million for services in conjunction with the CIA's detention and interrogation program. The CIA also certified Company Y's office in Redacted as a secure, compartmented information facility, which required a CIA officer to be detailed to Redacted and provided Company Y access to CIA internal computer networks at its facility. In 2008, the CIA authorized an additional payment to Company Y of approximately $570,000 after Company Y indicated that it had incurred costs for conducting counter surveillance of its officers when Redacted appeared in the press in conjunction with the program. The CIA agreed to a $5 million indemnification contract for the company that covered, among other expenses, criminal prosecution. Company Y hired a prominent redacted law firm for representation in 2007 and billed the CIA $1.1 million for legal expenses from 2007 through 2012 per its indemnification agreement. Part of these expenses included legal representation at a committee staff briefing by Swigert and Dunbar on November redacted 2008. Under the CIA's indemnification contract, the CIA is obliged to pay Company Y's legal expenses. The CIA's detention and interrogation program ends on December 5th, 2007, fewer than 9 months after Director Hayden told the European Union that the CIA's detention and interrogation program was not a CIA program, but America's program. The House Senate Conference for the fiscal year 2008 Intelligence Authorization Act voted to include an amendment that banned coercive interrogation techniques and established the Army Field Manual on Human Intelligence Collector Operations as the interrogation standard for all U.S. government interrogations. The conference report passed both the House and the Senate with bipartisan majorities. On March 8th, 2008, President Bush vetoed the Intelligence Authorization Act for fiscal year 2008 that banned coercive interrogations. In a radio address explaining the decision, the president stated, "The bill Congress sent me would take away one of the most valuable tools in the war on terror." Excuse me. Hold on. I got a tickle in my throat. Sorry. The CIA program to detain and question key terrorists, leaders, and operatives. Addressing the use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques, President Bush stated that the main reason the CIA program has been effective is that it allows the CIA to use specialized interrogation procedures to question a small number of the most dangerous terrorists under careful supervision. Oh, good grief. Okay, hold on. The president stated that the CIA program, good grief, had a proven track record. I'm sorry. And that the CIA obtained critical intelligence as a result of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques related to the Camp Lemonnier plotting, the Karachi plotting, the second wave plotting, and the Heathrow Airport plotting. The president then repeated a warning the CIA had previously provided to the White House that to restrict the CIA to interrogation methods in the Army Field Manual could cost American lives. As is described in this summary and detailed more extensively in the full committee study, the CIA's representations to the White House regarding the role of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques and the thwarting of the reference plots were inaccurate. On March 11th, 2008, by a vote of 225 to 188, the House of Representatives failed to override the presidential veto. In December 2008 and January 2009, CIA officers briefed the transition team for President-elect Barack Obama on the CIA's detention and interrogation program. CIA Director Hayden prepared a statement that relayed, despite what you heard or read in a variety of public fora, these enhanced interrogation techniques in this program did work. The prepared materials included inaccurate information on the operation and management of the CIA's detention and interrogation program, as well as the same set of examples of the effectiveness of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques that the CIA had provided to policymakers over several years. The examples provided were nearly entirely inaccurate. On January 22nd, 2009, President Obama issued Executive Order 13491, which required the CIA to close as expeditiously as possible any detention facilities that is currently operates and not operate any such detention facility in the future. The executive order prohibited any U.S. government employee from using interrogation techniques other than those in the Army Field Manual 2-22.3 on human intelligence collector operations. And then there's some footnotes. All right, intelligence acquired and CIA representations of the effectiveness of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques to multiple constituencies. Background on CIA effectiveness representations. From 2002 through 2009, in order to obtain policy authorizations and legal approvals, the CIA made a series of representations to officials at the White House, the Department of Justice, and the Congress, asserting that the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques were uniquely effective and necessary to produce otherwise unavailable intelligence that the U.S. government could not obtain from other sources. The CIA further represented, that's a lot, that the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques saved lives and enabled the CIA to disrupt terrorist plots, capture additional terrorists, and collect a high volume of critical intelligence on Al-Qaeda. The Department of Justice used these representations of effectiveness to assess, that's a big, whether the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques were legal. Policymakers at the White House used these representations in the legal analysis by the Department of Justice. That's a lot of stuff here. To assess whether the CIA interrogation program should be approved as a matter of policy, and members of Congress relied on the CIA representations in overseeing and assessing the program, providing funding, and crafting related legislation. So I'm going to put the link in the description, so if you want to go back and read that, you can. In CIA presentations to the executive and legislative branches, the CIA represented the other parties had consented to or endorsed the CIA's interrogation program. As an example, during a policy review of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques in July 2003, the CIA informed a subset of the National Security Council principals that the use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques was approved by the Attorney General and was fully disclosed to the SSCI and HPSCI leadership. In the same presentation, the CIA represented that the CIA interrogation program had produced significant intelligence information that had, in the view of CIA professionals, saved lives. The CIA then provided examples of attacks averted as a direct result of the CIA interrogation program, and warned policymakers that the termination of this program will result in loss of life, possibly extensive. When the CIA was asked by White House officials to review and provide further evidence for the effectiveness of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques in 2004, the CIA responded that it was difficult, if not impossible, to conduct such a review, but assured White House officials that this program works, the techniques are effective, and the program produces results. The results provided by the CIA consisted of the disruption of specific terrorist plots and the capture of specific terrorists. The CIA further represented that the information acquired as a result of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques was unique and otherwise unavailable. These specific CIA claims played an especially important role, more footnotes, in the Department of Justice's legal review of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques. Department of Justice documents stated that an analysis of the legality of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques, I'm sure that's what it says, was a highly context-specific, fact-dependent question, and highlighted the importance of the CIA representation that the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques produce substantial quantities of otherwise unavailable actionable intelligence, and were largely responsible for preventing a subsequent attack within the United States. Past efforts to review the effectiveness of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques during the period in which the CIA's detention and interrogation program was operational from 2002 to 2009, there were 3 reviews that addressed the effectiveness of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques. The CIA Officer of Inspector General special review released in May 2004, an internal review conducted by 2 senior CIA officers in 2004, and a 2005 Blue Ribbon panel consisting of 2 individuals not employed by the CIA. According to CIA records, as of the spring of 2007, the CIA had not conducted any other studies on the effectiveness of interrogation techniques. Each of the previous reviews relied on interviews with CIA personnel involved in the program, as well as documents prepared by CIA personnel, which represented the CIA interrogation program was effective and that the use of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques had enabled the CIA to disrupt terrorist plots, capture additional terrorists, and collect a high volume of critical intelligence on Al-Qaeda. CIA personnel represented this is information that CTC would not have gotten any other way. There are no indications in CIA records that any of the past reviews attempted to independently validate the intelligence claims related to the CIA's use of its enhanced interrogation techniques that were presented by CIA personnel in interviews and in documents. As such, no previous review confirmed whether the specific intelligence cited by the CIA was acquired from the CIA detainee during or after being subjected to the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques, or if the intelligence acquired was otherwise known to the United States government, otherwise unavailable, and therefore uniquely valuable. The origins of CIA representations regarding the effectiveness of the CIA's enhanced interrogation techniques as having saved lives, thwarted plots, and captured terrorists. Before the CIA took custody of its first detainee, CIA attorneys researched the limits of coercive interrogations and the legal definitions of torture. On November 26, 2001, CIA Office of General Counsel Attorneys, or the OGC, circulated a draft legal memorandum entitled Hostile Interrogations, Legal Considerations for CIA Officers. The memorandum listed interrogation techniques considered to be torture by a foreign government and a specific non-governmental organization, including cold torture, forced positions, enhanced physical exhaustion, sensory deprivation, perceptual deprivation, social deprivation, threats and humiliation, conditioning techniques, and deprivation of sleep. The draft memorandum described various prohibitions on torture and the potential use of necessity as a legal defense against charges of torture, stating it would therefore be a novel application of the necessity defense to avoid prosecution of U.S. officials who tortured to obtain information that saved many lives. A policy decision must be made with regard to U.S. use of torture in light of our obligations under international law, with consideration given to the circumstances and to international opinion on our current campaign against terrorism. States may be very unwilling to call the U.S. to task for torture. To call the U.S. to task for torture when it resulted in saving thousands of lives. On February 1st, 2002, a CTC attorney researched the impact of the applications of the Geneva Conventions on future CIA interrogation activities. The attorney wrote, if the detainees is a POW, like a prisoner of war, and enjoys GC coverage, then the optic becomes how legally defensible is a particular act that probably violates the convention but ultimately saves lives. I believe that a named CIA attorney, papers reflecting on necessity and anticipatory self-defense are the two most obvious defenses available. The Department of Justice Office of Legal Counsel, or OLC, included the necessity defense in its August 1st, 2002 memorandum to the White House counsel, determining, among other things, that under this current circumstances, necessity or self-defense may justify interrogation methods that might violate the criminal prohibition against torture. The OLC memorandum states, it appears to us that under the current circumstances, the necessity of defense could be successfully maintained in response to an allegation of a Section 2340A violation. Under these circumstances, a detainee may possess information that could enable the United States to prevent attacks that potentially could equal or surpass the September 11th attacks in their magnitude. Clearly, any harm that might occur during an interrogation would pale to insignificance compared to the harm avoided by preventing such an attack, which could take hundreds or thousands of lives. According to a report by the Department of Justice Office of Professional Responsibility, or the OPR, released in July 2009, Deputy Assistant Attorney General John Yoo acknowledged that the CIA may have indirectly suggested the new sections related to Commander-in-Chief authority and possible defenses, including the necessity defense, by asking him what would happen in a case where an interrogator went over the line and inadvertently violated the statute. Yoo also told OPR that he drafted those relevant sections. Another senior Department of Justice lawyer at the time, Patrick Philbin, informed the OPR that when he told Yoo that the sections were superfluous and should be removed, Yoo responded, they want it in there. The CIA's former Deputy General Counsel John Rizzo told the OPR that the CIA did not request the addition of the sections. In his response to the OPR report, Assistant Attorney General Jay Bybee stated that the ticking time bomb could justify the necessity defense was in fact a real world scenario. According to Bybee, the OLC attorneys working on the August 1st, 2002 memo had been briefed on the apprehension of Jose Padilla on May 8th, 2002. Padilla was believed to have built and planted a dirty bomb The August 1st, 2002 memorandum states that the interrogation of captured Al Qaeda operatives allegedly allowed U.S. intelligence and law enforcement agencies to track Padilla and detain him upon his entry into the United States. This information was inaccurate. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I'll put this in the description. I'll put the link in the description. So if you want to go back and read all these footnotes and stuff, that's cool with me. Whatever. It's like a lot, and I don't want to wear my eyes out too much. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good afternoon. See y'all. Bye.